What's up, YouTube? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute, long time. No talk, but it's okay. I'm back. I'm back with the jump off. And yeah, we're just going to be getting into the things like this here. Welcome back if you are a returning subscriber, but if this is your first time joining me on today, hello. Okay, this is the HoodAstroQ Queen, and here we use information from celestial bodies to help us gain a better understanding of our favorite celebrities, world events, but most importantly, our damn selves. So do yourself and me, well, let's be real, me, but you too, a favor. Thumbs up this video because it's how I get more people to look at it. This is how we grow the family, gain more traction, and then you get, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. You get this good, right? We sip the cosmic tea, so to speak, while learning. And if you're interested in booking your very own natal chart reading, feel free to contact me at astrowerld. That's astrowerld at gmail.com, and we can get you squared away on today. So now that is out the way, as you can see today, we are going to be discussing a lot of the astrological influences surrounding NBA Youngboy. Now, if you are not familiar with him, he is a Louisiana bass rapper. I think Baton Rouge, right? And arguably one of the most influential, popular, more independent, modern rappers, right? Of this time, of this generation, of this era. He is like the Gen Z, hardcore rap stand, like the GOAT is what they call him. And so, unfortunately, even despite these very, very astounding accolades, he has not been able to keep himself out of trouble throughout the course of pretty much his entire career. He's been in and out of jail, prison situations, right? Lots of legal situations at play. However, he has a recent victory. As of last week, he happened to beat a Fed case out in California. I think he has one additional case that, stemmed back from like an arrest that happened last year or whenever. I'm not really too sure in the details. Y'all feel free to clarify if you need to in the comment section. But long story short, one down, one to go. But the Fed case was a really big deal. So the fact that he ended up winning that, right, which I would assume would carry the more like heavier penalty. A lot of people are rejoicing. His fans were waiting outside of the courthouse. It was a whole deal, whole situation. So in this video, I want to talk about some of the astrological factors that contribute to NBA youngins' reoccurring legal issues, what could have facilitated or assisted him in this victory, right, that he won against this Fed charge he had, this Fed case. And then transits. We can get into the transits on that particular day and see exactly how that assisted him as well. So let's go ahead and start with his natal chart. There is a NBA Youngboy like general natal chart reading that I uploaded years ago. If you want to go check that out after this video, I'll be sure to include it in the description box. So NBA Youngboy was born on October 20th, 1999 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And we don't have an exact time of birth for him, but I went ahead and used the placeholder of 12 p.m., which can still be done, but we would have to kind of discard the ascendant as well as his house placements, or just take those with a grain of salt, right? But we could still get a very meaningful chart interpretation without such. So with that being said, his sun is at the 26th degree of Libra. Now, the number 26 breaks down to 8. The number 8 oftentimes deals with authorities. Okay. So a lot of people, whether you are a life path number 8, whether you have planetary degrees, right, that coincide with that 8 energy, any combination of 8, like 26, 8, what are some other ways you can make 8? Y'all get my point. These are people who have a lot of karma in terms of like their relationship or the way that they fit into power dynamics, structure dynamics. This could even deal with like parents, so lots of karma involving the father, which is kind of like a double dose considering that he has his son, right, in this 8 frequency, because 2 and 6 together equal 8. And the sun often deals with the father when we talk about astrology, right? The father is the sun. It's the natural rule of the fifth house. So, a lot of times these are children who may have had fathers that were, depending on how it's aspected, right? Very authoritative, or have always found themselves in resistance with authoritative figures or wanting to be an authoritative figure themselves, things like that. And in NBA's case, I think his father has spent damn near his whole life in prison, which leads me to my next point, that number 8 energy can also closely coincide with the law in the greater sense, right? The government. It could deal with punitive punishment, right? So people who could be reckless or could find themselves on the opposing end of certain legalities and whatever. So this deals with his father having issues with the law. And because 8 is very karmically rooted, that's just kind of a part of the family karma, unfortunately. And I can see how, as a result, this could impact him in that same manner. Now, when we talk about the sign Libra, which is a natural ruler of the 7th house and deals with legal affairs as well, right? There's a certain kind of legality energy that comes with the sign of Libra. A lot of these people, whether you are a Libra sun, moon, I notice a lot of Libra south nodes as well. Saturn, if you have Saturn in Libra, even though it's technically exalted, or even Jupiter, these are people who can have a lot of karmic experiences or a lot of fated experiences with the legal system. Now, usually this is lower level. Some of these people could be attorneys. Some of these people could, experience things or have experiences in life that help familiarize themselves with the process. These are people who can make excellent judges as well. Once again, attorneys going to law school, or once again, can find themselves on the other end. So maybe you're somebody who has to file a lawsuit at some point, right? An example of this would be Venus in Libra, winning or losing, maybe trying to sue somebody or having to go to court to handle some type of legal dispute or, lower level issue. So when you combine that sun at the 26th degree of Libra, it's almost like the perfect recipe, right, for a person who is just going to have fated encounters with the legal system. I'm pretty sure he's switched lawyers time and time again. I know he's pretty astute, and you notice this in with a lot of people in general, right? If you spend your whole life in and out of jail with legal issues, the process, the steps. These are people who, once again, if you put on your different cap, could very well be capable of whether it be representing themselves in court or, these could be paralegals or who have just certain knowledge and understanding. And I know that definitely aided, it worked to Youngboy's benefit, even in terms of just knowing the right people to put around him to kind of wheel and deal and position himself accordingly. He has his Libra sun trining his Pisces moon, which you could look at trines as being blessings. So in tandem with the moon in Pisces, this could even be, I wonder if he has a female lawyer or a female attorney, or there could be a woman, some feminine presence legally that really helped him. Maybe the judge was a woman. Y'all feel free to let me know in the comment section, because I didn't really look into that. I've never looked into it. But it could also deal with where he's just blessed, right? Where he can receive like a blessing or where he can be insulated. And to a certain degree, these are people who could kind of get spoiled like that, and they start taking shit for granted, which is another reason why I feel like he kind of finds himself in these kind of situations repeatedly. And he has his sun squaring Neptune working against him, because once again, we're talking about Libra, right? The lower octave of Libra is legal problems, issues with the law as well. So squaring Neptune, which is the planet of imprisonment, entrapment, confinement, perfect recipe for jail, somebody who's a perfect candidate to spend extended periods of time locked up, incarcerated. On top of that Pisces moon, because depending on how that's aspected for a lot of people, I've seen that deal with that as well. In addition to, drugs or rehab, maybe, at some point in life, not wishing this on him, but, he's been very open about, doing drugs and all this and that and the third. So maybe at some point he has to do some type of stint at a rehab facility, or maybe I wouldn't even be surprised with his sun trining that moon like that, if maybe that was a part of the stipulations, or, he could get into a situation where they're like, okay, well, if you don't want us to throw the book at you, check him into rehab, or, sit him down for this period of time or that period of time. Maybe he'll have to do community service. That's also very Libra sun trining Pisces moon, getting structured or settled into like a situation where maybe you'll have to do some type of charity work in terms of helping other people. And, that can also kind of take some of the edge off of your consequences. Not to mention the number 8 deals with, it's karmic law. It's ruled by Saturn. So for sure, when we talk about, punitive punishment, right? Jail or where you have to just pay the piper for your actions. And a lot of Sun square Neptune people could lack integrity. These are people who could find themselves, in certain shady dealings. You see a lot of drug dealers too with Sun square Neptune, or like I said, maybe drug users, or, somebody who could have people around them who aren't really the best influences. And with Libra being the sign that deals with other people, a lot of Libra placements are very, very, very vulnerable and susceptible to like the influence of their peers more than others, which is why I wanted to point out the fact that, like most people, you could just say this could be applicable to most people, but specifically for a lot of Libras, it's very easy for them to be products of their environment, depending on, their other placements and how these Libra planets or placements are aspected. Having Libra squaring Neptune or an adverse aspect to Neptune can put a person on a course to kind of be taken off their track, knocked off track, by other people, by the wrong influences, or people who could rely too heavily on other people. You know what I mean? And I kind of get that thing. The victim, the hero complex. This could even view, because Libra deals with the opposite sex, this could even spill over into his interactions with women, right? A lot of Libra, and this is dark side Libra energy, where, they could be ladies' men. A lot of the male Libras, they can. And we don't even, that's a whole different video for a different day. We already know, how Youngboy giving it up. He got a new girlfriend for every day of the week, and they all giving him babies. All of them. And that's also that his sun trining his moon like that. You could look at that as like, women being very drawn to him having that endearing personality, and connection with certain women, and, starting families, feeling like this woman is so special. I want to start a family with her. Whether or not it ends up that way, y'all know how it goes. Okay. Like I said, different video for a different day. The man has 50,000 children and he's only 22. But I digress. That Sun square Neptune could keep him in a state of confusion in his relationships, where he's swapping women out, where he can almost even view them as like inanimate objects he can toy with, or where women feel like they can save him. I can fix him. He's so wounded. He's so misunderstood. Sun square Neptune people can also, very well be misunderstood. But tying it back to the legal standpoint, this has a lot to do, if you are somebody with, especially in the sign like Libra, Sun square Neptune, just live your life right, okay? If you are a harsh Neptune aspected person, and I am as well, live your life right, because at any moment, karma could come and get your ass. And if you are on the illegal side of things, you're just signing up for jail. You're signing up for things that that may incapacitate you. So there's that. Now, some other things that could have worked, or that could play or factor into a lot of his legal issues and things of that sort, would be the fact that Youngboy does have his Jupiter, and it's placed at the 0 degree of Taurus. And it is forming an opposition to his sun. So this could deal with, maybe where he has to spend a lot of money, come up about a lot of money, in terms of like, by the time he's in and out of court and when it's all said and done, this could be very taxing for him financially, but that could, that kind of figures, right? But the fact that he has Jupiter trining his Capricorn Mars helps him out, because this can make it so that he's able to work and make money just as much money as he's spending on legal fees and attorneys and things like that because of his career, right? He could bring in just as much money. That could make him a cash cow. That's the cash cow aspect, right? Mars at the second degree of Capricorn, trine in Jupiter in Taurus. He's a cash cow. And Mars in Capricorn could even deal with like corporations, right? Him wheeling and dealing. I think he's independent, but he signed like distribution deals. And, every time he drops an album or whatever, puts out a project, it does some serious numbers. And so this could deal with where he has people on the corporate side, maybe funding him or, helping him out. He gets a lot of help. He gets a lot of help from people around him. Now, with his sun squaring Neptune, I would say be mindful of all the people on your team, especially legally, that could deal with him hiring a janky lawyer or, where somebody, who may not necessarily mean him any good or something like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he gets a lot of legal advice. With Jupiter also squaring Neptune, he needs to be careful because that could even look like bad legal advice. It could also just look like, him spending a lot of money, or that could reinforce his money kind of being bled dry in the legal system, him being trapped in an agreement, in an arrangement. And I think he had some issues with Atlantic Records, if I'm not mistaken. So you could even look at that as that, because Jupiter also deals with publishing. So maybe he's not even making money, like even though he's, bringing in, he's very successful, right? Or, he's being able to keep afloat. He's still not making as much money as he feels like he could be, or he still feels like he's trapped in a situation, a bad deal. That's also very Libra sun squaring Neptune. Once again, Libra being the natural ruler of the seventh house, your business, handling your business, making sure you got things lined up, squared away, binding contracts and things like that, right? Things that could result, once again, in litigation. So even if he's not in litigation in terms of his criminal history and all this other shit that he does on the side, right? I wouldn't be surprised if he sued somebody for, royalties or whatever the case may be, right? Or a manager or somebody who is not really handling his business the way he thought his business should be handled, period. So if NBA Youngboy was into astrology, I would definitely inform him of that. And, he could be somebody who feels like he has to give to other people as well. Other people sucking him dry, even in his personal life. He does have that Pisces moon. And it is squaring Chiron, opposing Venus. So you could even look at that as him helping his mama out a lot, his family. I know he's complained about that before. These are people who have actually really, really, really big hearts with his sun squaring Neptune, but it's usually to their own detriment. And that's a part of what makes him so endearing. That in addition to that Pisces moon, and his sun trine to his moon, that's him being so personable. Even despite the bullshit he does, he's done some deplorable things, some things I can't even get behind. And he does show a lot of that regressive, ignorant kind of mentality that comes along with whether it be drill rap, trap rap, and, people who are exposed to certain things in life. But he does like giveaways. I think he was like hugging a fan. Like he was literally captured outside of the courthouse, embracing fans. And he just has this very endearing side to him that despite what he does, I actually understand. Now, I don't understand why the girls keep giving him babies and, in terms of like, I can't identify with that, but I can understand what people see in him, what his fans and loyal supporters, because our moon could even deal with, the mass following that we've created, right? So with his Pisces moon trining his Libra sun, that could be a person who it has really big star power, celebrity power, right? Not to mention he's a Leo North Node, so he's kind of destined to be that person, right? Very popular, but where he's also known for being giving and loving and caring. And that's just the side to him in that Libra relatability. That's just that side to him you can't really beat. That's that it factor. And a lot of Leo North Nodes have that it factor that thrushes them into the spotlight. So ultimately, this is a part of his destiny. Now, the legal issues, not so much, but, just other components of just who he is. And that seems to be why, even despite the fact that the mainstream industry has rejected him in a lot of ways, like he's been beefing with Dirk, and most rappers side with Dirk after the whole King Von situation. Y'all can brush up, on those details for another day. He had, as an Aquarius South Node, a lot of Aquarius South Nodes are used to being controversial. These are people who are used to either being the outsiders or, blending in behind other people, blending in with other people. But in this lifetime, as a Leo North Node, he's meant to stand out. And moreover, everything he does is going to be public. He's going to live a very public life, a very faded life, whether he really wants to or not. And what he chooses to do with that, that's just on him. So a lot of his legal issues, unfortunately, have been tied into that as well. Now, he also has his moon forming a sextile to Jupiter. Once again, that could also be somebody paying a judge off, right? Him having connections that could really help him out and land him either really good deals, or, you could even look at this as a miracle, him being acquitted, like that, like being like a miracle circumstance occurring legally. He also has his moon sextiling his Mars in Capricorn. Once again, also really good for navigating legal and even corporate situations. He's just favored, to be honest. He's favored, and he's gonna, when that Pisces energy is aspected in a positive way, a lot of times, or people who I notice have a lot of positively aspected Jupiterian influences, these are people who can get off. They can get lucky breaks. You know what I mean? Even despite the adverse reactions that come with the, more difficult aspects. For Youngboy, this is why it seems like he'll go through some really messed up stuff, some crazy stuff, and it's like, this nigga, they can't never get this nigga down. He's never down for long, and people are just kind of waiting on his downfall on the sidelines. And it's kind of easy for him to be unlikable too, because he does have Venus squaring Pluto. These are people who can receive a lot of hate. But he still ends up getting that lucky break. So I definitely would attribute the majority of that lucky break to his Pisces moon sextiling Jupiter in Taurus. That's like abundance, like really being like clicked up with a higher power. And that could even deal with him. I wouldn't be surprised if he was very spiritual, if he prayed a lot, or there could be an influence from the women in his family. That could be having an angelic figure on his side, maternal figure on his side, and things of that nature. He also has moon square Pluto too. That could also make him very much like a hated person, and things like that. Not to mention abusive as hell. So, but once again, different video for a different day. Now, some other aspects that could also help him out in terms of just creating circumstances where he can get a lucky break legally would be his Saturn. He does have his Saturn at the 15th degree of Taurus, and it's trining his Venus. And that could actually deal, especially with his Venus at the 10th degree of Virgo, that could deal with him, once again, receiving assistance, help, legal help. That could even be him getting sound legal advice, especially with Saturn and Taurus. It could also deal with where there's a certain element of like favor. You know what I'm saying? Where he could receive like favoritism or preferential treatment to a certain extent. So, I thought that was kind of interesting. His Saturn is also squaring Uranus. And that could actually even deal with where, just when he think he's done with one situation, here comes something else, right? Just when we thought we got over one legal hurdle, here's something else that has to be paid for, or an issue that has to be accounted for. Same thing with it squaring his Aquarius South Node. But ultimately, it's all about free will in terms of what direction he is ultimately going to take. You know what I mean? We all got free will. And the thing is, Leo, as a Leo North Node, in this lifetime, he has to learn how to exercise more of that. But he's going to be at a disadvantage because his sun, once again, is squaring Neptune, and that can incapacitate a person's free will. That could, once again, whether it be by the influence or due to the influence of others, or mental health issues, addiction problems. You know what I'm saying? Slipping back into, I even intuitively get like old habits and patterns, that could render a person unable to really truly take charge of their destiny. And in his case, heavy on the destiny part, because he has Leo at the 8th degree, 8, the number 8 again, right? Very fated, the 8th degree. So it's just like, it's really up to you, Contrail. Now, getting into his transits on the particular day that his case was acquitted, right? The federal case was acquitted. He had transiting Jupiter, trining his Pluto. Transiting Jupiter right now is at the 8th degree. Peep that number 8 again, right? Legal, fated, right? A change of fortune, right? Trining his natal Pluto in Sagittarius, which could also deal with the courts, the higher court system, the justice system. Jupiter and Sag, for what it's worth, are, all about justice. So transiting Jupiter in Aries, trining his Pluto and Sagittarius could be the aspect that contributed to him having like a lucky break. Jupiter is also luck, a lucky break, like a fated change, or just where it really just worked out in his favor. Transiting Venus, which is currently at the 27th, or at the time, the 27th degree of Gemini, was also forming a trine to his sun, his Libra sun, which could have resulted in the press, right? That was more so the following press, especially when we talk about Venus and Gemini. That could be the media, like, it being reported that, the outcome of this situation was favorable. So he had a couple of really good things going on in his situation. And the transiting ascendant was at the 8th degree, once again, fate of Libra. Right. So him being outside the courthouse, once again, that legal influence, litigation. So yeah, this concludes my reading on Kentrell, aka NBA Youngboy. Y'all drop down in the comment section. Let me know, how you feel about his chart, the transits. Do you have any similar placements, or can you identify with any of this energy yourself? And what are your thoughts on how it shows up around him? And I will catch y'all in the next video. Bye.